is the Silly Gobi and Simba, but I actually think that's incorrect because they beat Tiffany and Starlight earlier.
Right.
On stream. And Velocity Brian and Wilson, I am failing to remember who they, I think it was an EU team.
Yeah, I saw them take it over Atrophius and Narwhal because they were in that pool.
Oh.
So they've been doing really well today. Starlight and Tiffany, you know, they were able to make it out, second place in their pool. So this is losers action in the double elimination 2v2 bracket. So that put them off into, you know, top 16. But now, if they lose a set, they are out of the tournament.
And that's the dangerous part of this. Unfortunately, even though we have all these fantastic teams, one team does have to come out on top, and everyone might have a favorite. Unfortunately, what happens is one of these teams has to go out, and that is where the danger lies now for these two teams, I believe.
Oh, yeah. So they were running their button checks. Both teams feeling pretty ready. See Tiffany stretching over, you know, using the mouse. Got to set all the names, set the avatars. You know, it's important to get yourself looking right before you enter the match.
That's what typically what happens when you don't have any mouse and keyboard players. You don't have anyone to control who gets to select what. You have to, and I think I was talking to someone else earlier about it, where back in some of the tournaments, you'd have 4 controller players, and then someone would have to go run off and find someone with a mouse somewhere just so they could set the names for the stream.
But yeah, we've got stage bands coming out right now. Of course, we've got Wilson rocking Bryn, Brian on Taros, Starlight and Tiffany rocking the double Hattori.
And to get things started off, we got all the picks, we got all the bands. We're here on the Mammoth Fortress getting this game underway, and already things starting off pretty hot with Wilson trying to get some axe damage, and he's got the aerials getting thrown out right now, and Brian trying to make his way. Finally, he's got a hammer. It's just a countdown timer waiting for him to throw it away.
Yeah, man. I mean, so you see a lot of this started off with just movement, just trying to corral Wilson and Brian into center stage. Starlight and Tiffany getting that 2-prong pincer attack where you get a lot of team combos, and it's really paid off. I mean, Brian deep in the red, Wilson already in the orange. Tiffany and Starlight are looking pristine.
They haven't taken very much damage so far, and already getting Wilson and Brian into the red. And last time we saw, Brian was actually the one who was getting taken out the most and the earliest. He was the first one to 1 stock left each time. And it looks like it might be a repeat performance from him right here if he can't get his act together. All
right, Brian finding his way back on stage. Oh, but Tiffany smacking him back out. Again, just so much stage control, just guarding these corners. That's going to be 2 stocks going the way of Starlight and Tiffany. I mean, just a minute in, and they've already got a healthy lead built.
I mean, as long as they can hold on to the 3 stocks, at least one of the players, it's going to give them a lot of room to work with. And right with Starlight not even close to the red, even though Tiffany got taken out, Starlight on that first stock is still going to create a lot of pressure for this red team to try to get that back. So you might see Brian try to collapse. You might see Wilson trying to come in for an assist. But right now, Starlight has been doing a good job at playing back, just playing the waiting game and looking for the opportunities that he needs in order to hold on to this stock.
Yeah, and you know what? I just want to talk a bit for a moment about the matchups going on here. Just because we do have the double Hattori, you know, spear sword, but most notably high speed. And Wilson also playing a high speed character in Bryn. The interesting pick here is Brian, Taros being one of those hard-hitting, slower characters.
I'm not sure if he still does this, but I think he does prefer to go with the strength stance as well.
Oh, double ground pound. Wilson taking out Starlight's first stock, just tying it up, but massive damage deficit to make it back from.
That's the classic Wilson, something you can always expect from him, to go right in, go for those kills, and just secure him off on the side. We've seen him do it in 1v1s and 2v2s is no exception.
Man, Starlight just clearing the field.
Wilson not even opting to go for the save onto Brian, but he is going to make his way back.
I respect it. Smartly moving to the opposite side. You do not want to try and fight Starlight off the edge with the sword.
I mean, you got Wilson there, but there's only so much you can do at the edge.
Yeah, Starlight, longtime player, former 2v2 world champion. His sword is a monster.
I mean, he's always had a monster sword ever since he started playing the game. I mean, I think he started on...
But Brian getting double signatures, all that damage onto Starlight, you know, could be the start of the comeback that they need. Wilson, perfect down air, interrupting that combo.
Huge side stick from Wilson to confirm the kill on Tiffany. and that is going to put Tiffany into her last stock. Brian almost connecting that neutral stick as well, and now looking for that hammer pickup. He's going to try to create a little bit of a map presence here with Wilson, but Wilson hitting with that down light is going to knock Brian into the air and kind of disrupt their team cohesion just a little bit. Nice double downlight from Tiffany as well to get a lot of damage onto Brian.
Man,
and
Tiffany's
Wilson coming in
is unreal, just threading the needle between so many attacks. I'm surprised she's hung on as long as she has.
There goes Starlight, the second stock gone, and now all the stocks are evened up, but Brian deep in the red is going to cause an issue for the red side as he is in the last vestiges of his health bar, and that is going to be the side air from Tiffany. He's going to confirm it. Now the collapse onto Wilson. He's going to try to play a little bit carefully, kind of more of his 1v1 style here to try to stay alive as long as possible. He does have the axe here. The high damage from those aerials, the signature moves as well, is going to give him some room to work with. And Starlight, nice approach with the neutral light.
You know, it is such a slow weapon, and just as you saw, if you go for any attack, you need to not have the opponent's teammate nearby. You need to choose your spots so carefully because it's got a lot of startup, it's got a lot of recovery time. If you go for that attack, sure, you might hit the target, but their teammate's going to come and just hit you right back.
And that's what we saw with Starlight. As soon as Wilson was able to confirm that neutral light, he had the stun frames onto Tiffany, but it also froze him in place as well.
Yep.
And the spear outranges it by just a smidge. And the fact that Starlight was actually able to get in through that without getting caught by the hip frames as well is pretty impressive in its own. But he was able to get his teammate out of there and turn it right back around in their favor.
Look at Wilson and Brian just kind of thinking calmly, all right, what do we need to adjust? What needs to change in this match for us to take it?
Well, off the bat already, Brian getting a decent amount of unarmed damage, but he has not been able to find a weapon so far. He's going to pick up that hammer, and Starlight already getting right on top of Brian, getting a lot of damage with the double downlight onto Wilson, and the follow-up from Tiffany, the neutral stick coming out, not going to connect though, as Brian makes his way back to the stage, and Tiffany just tries to keep him back there. The more time that he can she can force Brian off stage, is really more time that Wilson is all by himself.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? Brian has just been taking a beating into the red. I mean, damage build is fairly even all around, but it really feels like the pressure is in favor of the blue team here.
Recovery off the top is not going to confirm the kill onto Wilson as Wilson gets back down onto stage. The axe coming out, the neutral sig, and there it goes. Kill off the top, and that's going to be red team taking the lead. And it's not Brian this time.
Beautiful
taking
weapon
the
throw
first fall
into that signature. Wilson just spinning Starlight out of there.
There's the recovery up the top. Wilson goes, and Brian's the last one in the first stock, trying to hold on to it. The side air. I don't know if he can get back. And there's the weapon snipe. Good answer, and that is all stocks even up.
Look at this
damage! Huge damage combo coming out of Wilson. He is trapped.
Man, Wilson just immediately going into the orange. This is not the kind of adjustment they needed if they want to take this set.
They started strong, but they got turned around very fast.
Yeah, I mean, Starlight and Tiffany, you saw it with those team combos. So much damage coming out so quickly.
Starlight just down air, that's going to be Brian gone.
That's
now
it
Wilson
for him.
Getting chased off on the wall. The down air not going to be coming out. Wilson with the recovery. He's covering that area very well. Now Brian back with one stock left. What happened? Recovery up the top.
Wilson's
oh, no.
gone too. There it is. Team combo, extra damage. One stock apiece for the red team, but blue sitting healthy at 2 apiece. Oh my gosh, caught 1, caught 2. All that damage. Brian and Wilson, they're finding some stock KOs.
They do have Tiffany in the red too.
Damaged themselves.
If they can take Tiffany, oh no, gets the recovery on Wilson, and that's going to call it for
Starlight
Wilson.
confirming, Tiffany confirming, 3 stock victory.
It's 2-0 right now. They're not done yet.
Yep, this is all best 3 of 5 action. All the way until top 6.
Well, they might not be done yet, but I'm sure there's people in the chat already calling this game with the way it's gone so far, but you never know.
I mean, these first 2 victories have been increasingly dominant on the side of Starlight and Tiffany. So when you're already down 2-0, something needs to change.
We'll see if they do, if there is some form of a catalyst that they can enact into their gameplay that brings the change that they want to see.
Honestly, I'm a little surprised that Wilson stayed with Bryn. He's got a pretty wide stable of characters that he can play. I would have liked to see him change it up.
Oh my gosh, Starlight and Tiffany with a huge team combo, getting a ton of damage off onto Brian. That's getting him all the way up into the orange threshold of damage. And now the gravity cancel side sig actually connected but got interrupted by Wilson of all people, and that is really unfortunate because it may have actually gone and picked up Starlight as well.
Oh man, Tiffany down off the edge. Brian going for the throw setup. No one bites, but Starlight going off the top. Wilson finding the KO. Brian finding another. Never mind. Complete turnaround. Wilson and Brian 2-stock lead.
This is what happened last time as well. They got a really good early lead, and then Tiffany and Starlight just 180, flipped it right back around in their favor.
Whoa.
Very nice avoidance from Wilson to just barely get missed by the neutral sig as well, and that is going to be Wilson trying to get a little bit more damage, but his teammate Brian, oh my.
All right. All right, you know what? They tied up the stocks, they took them out, but Tiffany is already in the orange. They still have the momentum going in their favor. Wilson and Brian can do this. They will need to do this. Again, this is losers bracket action. Whoever loses this set is out of the tournament.
And Brian and Wilson are one step away from that loss. They have to be very careful. They have to know what they're doing with their movements and their attacks, and they have to be really aware. Brian with a nice bait into the neutral sig as well, but it's not going to be a lot of damage to force that much pressure onto Tiffany. Tiffany was in a pretty fresh stock, so that neutral sig is only going to do so much.
Trying to rotate over. Brian just smacking Starlight, smacking Tiffany.
Wilson's got Tiffany on the edge. Starlight coming in for the assist.
Starlight is there. That support is crazy. And I mean, you know what? That is the awareness of a former world champion.
Starlight has to have that awareness, though, because Tiffany right now is in the red on her last stock, and that is an incredibly dangerous spot. If Starlight gets forced into a 2v1, it is always possible, but the odds just go out of their favor.
That. Brian was just ready for the extra attack. It wasn't necessary, but the thought process is there. So Brian, they cleared the stock off of Starlight. Tiffany, oh no! Brian going down, stocks dead even across damage even. Wilson and Tiffany in the danger zone.
Brian going in onto Starlight, trying to get a little bit of damage built up. If they can get the damage onto Starlight, that gets a lot of pressure onto both blue team members. Tiffany already in the red. The recovery going to take off the top, and now Starlight all by himself is going to be pressured on the wall by Wilson, and the neutral line not going to connect. And now Brian going in for the anti-air, popping him up. A lot of damage going on to Starlight, but he's doing a good job at avoiding most of the heavy hitting stuff.
He's in the red, sneaks past that weapon throw, but there they are. Just build that extra damage. Eventually, even the slightest tap is going to knock out Starlight. Uh-oh.
Oh, Wilson could have been taken out right there. He's got to be careful. Starlight might be in the red, but so are Wilson and Brian. One good sig could take both of them out.
Yeah, I think the main target is going to be Wilson. Starlight just trying to keep Brian by. Yep, there goes Wilson. Starlight unarmed. Whoa, dive kicking just under. But that's it. That's going to be it, Brian. They're still alive.
They're still alive?
They're still alive. Oh my God.
Two more chances.
Completely flabbergasted. That dive kick under the axe ground pound seemed like such a good idea, but he just didn't have the resources available to make it back to the wall. It was so close.
Sometimes you have to take those gambles, though. If you don't have any more options left and you take that hit, then you're dead for sure. But if you avoid it, maybe you can make your way back. That's what he had to go with. And it didn't pay off, but it was always worth at least the attempt.
Yep. All right, so Wilson and Brian still alive. They are down in the set 2-1. They need to win 2 more in a row to continue on in the bracket.
Getting things started off already. Starlight and Tiffany getting a lot of good damage onto Wilson and Brian. They're just trying to get their own damage back, though, and it doesn't seem to be too effective. A lot of big stuff coming out.
Trading blows back and forth across the board.
Finally got some good stuff onto Tiffany. Tiffany
Brian unarmed off the top, almost! The double spear recoveries. Starlight and Tiffany just covering so many avenues.
Recovery out from Brian with no follow-up. A very interesting option there. Maybe he was trying to set up for something.
Set up for this double edge guard here. That spear side air almost enough. So dangerous. Recovery off the top, just keeping the team split. They can't find their footing. Wilson going down. Brian, beautiful snipe back onto stage.
Ground pound, not going to connect. Had the opportunity there, but it was not enough.
Oh no, Starlight just weaving around that little breakdance move, securing the KO.
Brian's always went for fancy moves, and that's, well, that's very signature of Brian. The neutral light almost took out Tiffany, though.
You gotta play for the highlight reel sometimes,
exactly,
you know?
Exactly. You gotta jellyfish it.
I understand, but just double KO, synchronized, top, bottom, gone, dead even stocks.
Damage is pretty close as well. Brian and Wilson are only in the orange, and now nice combo from Brian and Wilson to get a lot of damage built up on the Tiffany. I mean, that's two heavy weapons. That's hammer and axe. You know that's a lot of damage one way or the other.
Tiffany trying to play a little bit of this spacing game, extend her stock a little bit further. Oh, Brian's going to be the main target. Starlight rotating over. There it is, the spear side air. Tiffany going to clean up the edge. No, Starlight back in it.
Collapse onto Brian, and he's weaponless. He has a dodge. He makes that wall touch at the very back.
Oh,
and the
turns
reversal.
it around on Tiffany.
Huge reversal.
This is crazy. This is the turnaround that they needed. It sets them up well. I mean, Wilson deep in the red, but you know what? He's won 3 seasonal championships.
It's true.
So if he's got the movement to survive, I believe it.
Weapon throw from Brian's going to save Wilson from a offstage fate. Tiffany trying to get on top of Wilson, but gets clapped. And now Starlight responding with his last stock, and then it is 1-to-1 on the blue side. 3 stocks on the red side.
Wilson taking the forefront here. Brian running that support role in the back. And you know what, given the stock count, that seems like the right call.
Brian doing a good job at avoiding some of the signature moves coming on from the blue team. And recovery, oh no, that's going to cost him a lot as Wilson now forced into his last stock early. No more extra credit for him as he gets forced into the last one.
How is Brian still alive?
It is a mystery to philosophers and researchers and scientists everywhere.
Uh-oh, but quick down air, neutral air, knock him down, knock him up. Brian just getting bullied.
Is that it?
But
no.
Still here.
Still alive. The recovery from Wilson looking... Sometimes...
He just needed to get back to the stage. Oh no, but he gets knocked out there. Wilson is alone again against Starlight and Tiffany, but Tiffany deep in the red. Any solid hit could turn this into an honest 1v1.
And she's playing back on the stage a little bit more, which is going to let Starlight take the front line as Wilson tries to get on top of Tiffany, and that is going to be a little bit of a pain train coming in. The side air's coming out, and Tiffany going to back up a little bit more. Good movement on her part to get out of the line of fire.
Man, Wilson trying to weave, but he's finding just occasional hits. Anytime that one of those gets returned, though, that just works so much against him.
Good opportunity, and that's it. 3-to-1.
Starlight and Tiffany moving on. Wilson and Brian going home.
And that is going to be a big loss for them. But we'll see, at the very least, we'll see Wilson, I think, one of the favorite players in the 1v1 side of things after all the top-tier placements he's been doing in the regional championships.
Yeah, we'll get to see some of that action tomorrow.